In this video, I'm making the very first appearance in comic book form of the ethereal guard Allure. Allure was one of the first characters I created that is part of the overall Realm Ethereal universe I have been building since around 2018 or 2019. But I'm also going to talk about how I've went back and forth for my own comic book series, the Realm Ethereal, between drawing the art in Procreate and drawing it traditionally. So as an artist who is continuously seeking new ways to express creativity, the choice between inking digitally and doing it the old school way with paper and pen is a significant one. Through my years of exploring various mediums, I've had my fair share of experimenting with digital platforms like Procreate and Photoshop to a certain extent. However, the allure of traditional inking with pit artist pens and brush pens is something that's tough to shake off. It's like an old friend that keeps calling you back, stirring a sense of nostalgia and authenticity. There are numerous reasons why I sometimes prefer to draw and ink comic book artwork using traditional methods. Let me outline my top 5 reasons for taking a step back from the digital canvas and embracing the physical touch of paper and ink. So firstly, there's an undeniable tactile sensation that comes with traditional inking. When the brush or pen touches the textured surface of the paper, it's not just a stroke, it's like a connection. This physical feedback can't be replicated on a glass screen, no matter how advanced the technology. Also, the way the ink flows, how it seeps into the paper, and even the occasional imperfection, all that lends a unique quality to each piece that is incredibly rewarding. Secondly, traditional inking demands a level of concentration and presence that can often feel more intense and focused than digital work. Digital platforms offer an undo button, which, while useful, can sometimes lead to a seemingly endless cycle of revisions. This can really hamper spontaneity and cause the work to lose its original energy. So on paper, every stroke is definitive. The permanence of the ink forces you to commit each line you draw, which not only hones your skills, but infuses your work with purpose and conviction. My third reason centers around the idea of uniqueness and originality. So physical comic book pages are one of a kind. They bear the hallmarks of the human hand, from the pressure of brush strokes to the variations in line width. These nuances cannot be exactly duplicated to make each page an original work of art. So this is something that becomes more valuable in an age where images can be easily replicated and shared with a click of a button. The fourth reason is about the break from technology. The digital world is pervasive, and for us artists, this often means hours spent staring at a screen, which can be mentally exhausting. So inking with traditional tools provides me a necessary and refreshing disconnect, a break from the constant stream of notifications and digital interruptions. So it's a meditative practice, I think, that allows for a deeper immersion in the creative process. And finally, switching back to traditional inking is like a breath of fresh air, mainly because of its simplicity, to be honest. I mean, there's no need for software updates, battery life, or file formats. It's just you and the raw materials. This non-digital unplug and play aspect can be incredibly freeing, so it really allows me to focus solely on the artistry without technical distractions. I mean, technical distractions notwithstanding, issues with a pen or issues with the ink and cleaning the brush and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, despite the obvious benefits of traditional inking, it's also essential to acknowledge why an artist might gravitate towards digital means. So I'm not poo-pooing digital inking at all, but digital inking, it can streamline the comic book creation process, making it faster and more efficient. You can do things like layering, you can easily apply colors. The ability to make quick corrections is very appealing, especially when you're facing tight deadlines or when in the initial stages of layout and design. So additionally, the digital platform is conducive to a certain precision and cleanliness that can be challenging to achieve with traditional methods. Zooming in on details using stabilization features for smoother lines and digital rulers for perfect perspective can result in a very polished final product. However, that very same polish can be a double-edged sword. The convenience and exactness of digital work have sometimes left me feeling somewhat detached from my creations. Over time, I began to miss the unpredictability and character that comes with the traditional artwork. for me, the switch from digital to traditional inking wasn't about rejecting the new, but about kind of rediscovering an invaluable part of that artistic experience that I felt was getting lost in the digital noise. So it's worth mentioning that deciding to ink comic book pages with traditional artist pens and brushes has also brought unexpected joys. The sheer variety of tools, from fine liners to sharp, thin lines to brush pens for dynamic bold strokes, provides a range of expressive possibilities. So it's a different kind of luxury being able to select the perfect tool for each task at hand. So moreover, the permanence of traditional inking, while it's intimidating, has reminded me to embrace and even cherish the odd mistake. So each drop of ink that goes astray on the paper, each line that wavers more than intended, it just adds character to a piece. It reminds me that perfection is a pursuit rather than a destination. There's also something thrilling about leafing through physical pages. You know, the comic book artboards that ultimately they just pile up, right? I mean, if you're doing it right, you'll have a lot of artwork because you're producing a lot of work. There's joy in seeing a story develop through that tangible artwork. You know, the weight of the paper, the slight smudges of ink, whiteout from imperfections. So even the space it occupies in the world adds a richness to both the creation and the consumption of the comic book art. So this added value isn't merely sentimental. Original comic art can be a collector's item. I can sell it. I can make additional income off of that. It's cherished also by those who appreciate the craft behind the stories. So this is not to say that I have abandoned digital inking entirely. I mean, the strengths of digital work play a significant role in my creative process. I've learned that a balanced approach wherein both digital and traditional techniques complement each other serves my art the best. Being able to sketch layout swiftly on my iPad, in Procreate, or even in Photoshop allows me to organize my thoughts and compositions before committing them to paper. The digital and traditional realms are not mutually exclusive, but are instead two dimensions that can be navigated concurrently. And I think they can enrich each other. So when it comes down to it, traditional inking with paper and pens offers a profoundly sensory and personal experience that, again, to me feels increasingly rare in this digital realm that we occupy currently. So while the modern tools like Procreate offer convenience and control, they cannot fully capture, I think, my artwork, the essence of my artist's hand, so to speak. The authenticity, the tangibility, and the unpredictability of traditional methods are what bring me back time and again to that breath of fresh air in this all too digital world. So whenever the digital grind begins to wear on my creative spirit, I know it's time to pull out my trusty brush pens and immerse myself in the simple grounding practice of traditional inking. I think I've said this before, I actually prefer and enjoy inking more than penciling. I draw my own comic books and I'm my own creator, writer, and all that stuff. But as I said, I know when it's time to pull out the traditional tools. It's a great way for me to kind of reset. And I do this with my own comic book. I think if I was working professionally, I'm probably going to be bound to doing digital work because of the nature of revisions and corrections and creating art by committee. So, but that's fine. As I was saying, working digitally, as it begins to wear on you, getting grounded back into traditional mediums, I think, is a great thing. It's a form of artistic reconnection, and it's a way to keep the flame of passion alive, and perhaps a gentle reminder that the best stories are those that bear the unique imprint of their creator's touch. If you want to check out the artwork here that I'm drawing, you can go to my website. You can go to reneariola.com and check out all these chapters here, all these pages, similar to what I'm drawing here. This is obviously the latest page, but there's a lot more on my website as well. So check it out. All the pages are free to read online at my website, and thanks for listening.